Okay, we're doing an overhaul of brake caliper. For this, you'll need to get yourself your caliper, which you should take off of your vehicle you are working on, because it is impossible to try and do this on a vehicle. And for the tools you'll need a blowgun with an air compressor. You'll need a flathead screwdriver, preferably something not extremely sharp because you'll need it to take out all the seals. You'll need a stack of rags. You'll need brake fluid. Make sure it's the same kind that your brake system uses. And then you'll need a scrap piece of wood, preferably a 2x4. And also a workbench and a vise is extremely nice. So you're gonna want to take the caliper and stick it in the vise. Make sure when you're doing this, you don't put it right here on the bleeder or on anything else that may break when you clamp down on it. And make sure it's snug, but don't reef on this thing because it'll crack the caliper. So next you're going to take your 2x4, you're going to stick it in here just like this, and you're going to want to take a rag or two and stick them in along with this, just so it doesn't hurt the piston. So as you can see, if you look on this side, this is where the brake line goes in, where all the brake fluid goes and pushes on the piston. You're going to want to take your blowgun, you're going to want to stick it right in here and watch your fingers. You're going to want to put a little bit of air in there till it pops. As you can hear, that just the piston popped out a little bit. I'm going to wiggle this 2x4 out of here. You're then going to take your stack of rags, go like this. Then you're going to watch your fingers again. You're going to do the same thing. It's going to pop out just like that. So, as you can see, this is the piston and the dust seal. You're going to want to take this dust seal off. You're going to want to inspect the piston for any corrosion, pitting. It's a little dented on the end, which is fine, and then right here you can see pitting, but it's not too bad. And then you're going to want to inspect the seal, make sure it has no holes in it or rips. And then there's also one more seal in here, which you're going to be very careful with a screwdriver with, making sure you don't gouge anything or break anything. And that's just a little square O-ring. You're going to inspect that. Take one of your rags, clean it all off. And then as you look inside of here, you want to be looking for any pitting, scarring, gouging, possibly oxidation such as rust. You're going to want to clean that up with a rag. Then it's not too bad in here, but if you might want to hone that out maybe a little bit because it's got a little bit of pitting and some gouging, it feels like. Okay. Before you begin the installation of the parts back into the caliper, make sure that you get new seals, whether or not the old ones had holes, because it's always a good reassurance that those won't go bad 5 days after you just took it apart. So to put this all back together, you'll need your brake fluid, which we're using .3, which is for this system. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to take some. You're going to want to get you want to make sure that the cap is always back on, because air ruins brake fluid. and moisture and stuff. So you're going to take your square one, you're going to stick it back inside of here. This thing is rather hard to put in here. So there's that. Now what you're gonna want to do is also take brake fluid, put it inside of the caliper. Make sure you get plenty of it. And then you're also going to want to do the same thing to your piston. And along with your dust boot. So you're going to reinstall this dust boot here. Make sure you have it the right way, the same way that you took it out. Make sure you don't rip it or break it or tear it in any way. Make sure you get it down inside of that groove. Okay, so now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take that piston, you're going to use your hands, and you're going to slowly try and get it in there. Want to make sure that the square O-ring is all inside of the groove. Then you're going to just wiggle it back and forth. Now if this isn't working for you, you can go get a C-clamp and you'll take the 2x4 and stick it in there and press down on this. So when you get the piston pressed into the caliper about halfway or so, you want to make sure that you seat this seal right here, because if you don't, it could roll up on itself and then you just have another ruined seal. Okay, so that's all sealed into there now. So you're going to take your 2x4, you're going to stick it in there. You're going to take your C-clamp, you're going to tighten it, pressing the piston. And when doing this, you want to make sure that it goes in completely straight, because if not, you could be gouging the sides. So as you can see, that's moving in. I'm going to go until it gets flush with the end. So as you can see, it is completely in there now. And you have just overhauled your brake disc caliper.